it's time to bring in our guests, and I'm so excited for Cara to come on. So, Cara, would you come on here because we want to welcome you, welcome you, welcome
Oh
you.
my God! Thank you so much for having me.
Excited, yes,
I am.
yes.
Oh, I'm like
We are.
looking at this. I'm like, pinch. This is where I am. You guys have no idea how much you've inspired me over the years. I am, we are all kind of pieces of each other. And I
Yes.
am definitely, you guys, pieces of you are in me and how I have climbed this ladder of success. So, this really, truly, and honestly, I'm not blowing
This is
smoke.
exciting.
For real stuff.
Thank you so much. We're excited to have you on We Got Issues, girl. We got issues. Okay. We got issues. The Facebook page is blowing up. We got issues. You know, you're watching us on YouTube. You might be watching us on Facebook. You might be having us on iHeartRadio. You might be on the 910 AM app. You could be watching us on 910 AM on the Facebook. I don't know where you're watching us. I don't know where you're listening, but I'm just telling you, we're bringing you the fire today. Cara, I always ask my guests, can you please introduce yourself to our audience? Because what we're going to do here is we're welcoming all the people who understand the value of friendship and who we are to our culture, who we are to our community, and how we can take people up. And we're so excited to have you here. So tell them a little bit about the laptop lawyer. The laptop lawyer. Not only
laptop lifestyle lawyer, honey. Listen, we throw some lifestyle up in there too. Okay?
Right. Okay. All right. And talk about your brand because she has made that come alive. So we want to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about you first.
Absolutely. And thank you again for having me. I'm so excited. So I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory so you can put the whole thing in context as to how I became this laptop lifestyle lawyer, or how really, I walked into this plan that I guess was always laid out for me and that I had to figure out along the way. So I'm originally from Haiti. That's where I grew up. I grew up in Haiti. Yep. Had a pretty charmed life, but life got shook real quick. I was 14 years old when my father was actually brutally murdered there back home. I know. I dropped the bomb, but I just hear me out because this is going to really pull together that really it doesn't matter how it started. It really doesn't matter how it started. You can really, as we're gonna unpack, reinvent, recreate, yourself. So yeah, I was 14, he was 42. It was very tragic, and I had to really pull myself by my bootstrap, because my mother at the time kind of was lost. She, he had been the breadwinner. He had been taking care of everything, very Caribbean life. She took care of the kids. He took care of everything else. And then here we are, and here she is, single mom of 3 kids, and had to grow up really fast. I grew up overnight. I had a 5-year-old little brother back then, and I could tell that she could not check in to do the full-time parenting of the whole what was necessary. So I stepped up. We I went to school. I left actually Haiti 2 years after my father passed. I went to New York, went to college, did the whole 3 jobs, 18 credits, got my double major, etc. But there was something stirring up in me from when this happened that I wanted to make him proud and make something of myself. Sometimes we just need that something to push us. And that was my driving force. And of course, law was something I looked to because injustice is still, alive and kicking in Haiti. Although we know where it happened, we know who did it, justice has still not have been served in my father's case, right? And so here we are. I moved to New York, did that, came down to South Florida for law school. And of course, I'm ready to go and rock this being a lawyer thing and do my thing. And right before the bar results came out, so I didn't know if I had passed the bar exam or not in Florida. I found out I passed the pregnancy test. Okay, so game changer. Because, we're now here in 2008. The economy is about to go. And I get my job as an associate where this, Jewish, white, 40-year-old veteran attorney hires me as a rookie lawyer, and I'm pregnant. And so I did my year working with him, went on maternity leave, and I tell you, I could not bring myself to go back to work because I had a little nugget at home, and I wanted to be mom. And my story goes that right about 3 months into my savings, I had to go back to work because it was like, it wasn't paid maternity leave. It was
right
on me maternity leave. And then I had literally a little bit of money left in my
account. Here we go. We got a break. This story is so good. We're all leaning in. We're like leaning in, like right when she got to the baby. And we're going to be back after we pay the bills. 3 minutes. We're going to be out and we're going to be listening because you're at 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. We got issues and we're here every day, Monday through Friday. We'll see you in a minute. Hey, you guys. Welcome to another edition of We Got Issues. OMG. When I tell you, I have leaned all the way into this conversation. I can't wait to hear what Kara is going to share with us on today. I mean, a laptop lifestyle lawyer. What is that all about? So I'm excited to hear about what she does. But, it's just thinking about our lifestyles, thinking about, things that we want to do, things we want to accomplish, things that we need to change. And just listening to her story just a few minutes ago, the tragic murder of her dad. And I'm sure all of us have experienced some kind of tragedy in our life that has shaped us in some format. And so a lot of times out of pain, a purpose is birth. You guys that were on last week when we had Dawn Floyd, who is the founder of My Sister's Pink Journey. She was on and she talked about getting breast cancer and then going through that and then starting her foundation, her organization, My Sister's Pink Journey, because of what she experienced while she was going through breast cancer. So many times our purpose comes out of tragedy. Not everybody has that story, but it's always amazed me when I see individuals who have gone through great tragedies. You hear mothers losing children, and of course all of the different shootings that have taken place, Columbine, and the list goes on, and how those parents took the tragic death of their children and went to Congress and started different things, and we get laws and whatnot passed in the name of individuals who died. So let me ask you, and put it in the chat. What are some things that you're interested in changing? I love the statement all the time that it's never where you start, and it's always where you finish. And so it doesn't matter where you are right now in your life. If there are some things that you want to change, you absolutely, as long as you're living, you have the ability to change it. So I hope that this conversation will encourage you, inspire you to take stock and to look at where you are and decide today what are the things that you go. Life is what you make it. Because you can. All right, let's listen. Yes. We're so excited. Life is what you make it. Life is what you make it. Life is what you make it. And we're making it right here at We Got Issues. We Got Issues, 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. I'm so excited to be back with you guys. Okay, so we were leaning in with our new friend, our new person of the tribe, our new force of friendship friend, Kara. And you were right in there where it was 3 months and the baby. Tell us a little bit more.
So money's running out, and my husband at the time is saying, what's up? Like, you got to go back to work, because Sally Mae is calling for her money back. Back then I was Sally Mae, now she's Naviant. But anyways, here I am. And whenever my back's against the wall, I have to tell you the one thing, my back's against the wall, one thing I know to do is pray. So I had a moment with the man upstairs and I was like, listen, okay, you sent me this baby. I did everything I was supposed to do. I went to school. It was all against the odds. Okay. And so I'm gonna need a lifeline here. And guess what? A woman walked up to me at a Target in an aisle and offered me a facial with Mary Kay Cosmetics. And I bought my whole freedom for $100. I started my Mary Kay business that very day. Wow. And on the heels of this business, I have built an entire law firm that has done 7-figure jury verdicts, personal injury out here in Florida, 12 years in practice. And I got knee deep into personal development work as a result of my time in Mary Kay and helping women and wanting to find real, being that leader, being that that person that they can emulate. And because I was watching y'all and you guys were inspiring me, and I'm like, I gotta inspire these people. So my tribe out here needing me. So I was doing the work in personal development, and I got present to the fact that I had a subconscious mind at 31 years old. I didn't know. I was like, what? I'm creating my life? Why didn't somebody tell me? I thought life was happening to me. And then I found out life was happening for me. And so I started looking back and seeing how life had been happening for me and what I could do to really take my story, my life story and my work, and put that together in something that could be meaningful. And the reality is that I created my law firm on the blueprint of the direct sales business. It was like working from home. I had, very low overhead, virtual, I had virtual, assistants before virtual assistants were sexy. Now COVID made all of this stuff sexy, but I've been doing it for 12 years since I started in the direct sales business. And so fast forward, I got involved with the Florida bar on putting something together for lawyers to help them build virtual law firms, because I did it. I did very well with it. I didn't miss anything. I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom. I bought the house. I bought the luxury car. I did everything off of this business model. And I'm seeing a bunch of attorney friends of mine open and close their shop, because rent is too expensive. And if cases don't come, then they can't, sustain. Meanwhile, I'm over here, with my $500 a month overhead, right? Because I was outsourcing a lot of stuff. And this is all, again, from what I learned. And I was like, okay, I learned all of this for a reason. And for some reason, when I was doing my meetings in Mary Kay, a lot of people who were not even in my unit would come and sit into my meetings and saying, they just something, when you say it a certain way, I got it. And so I became present to the fact that I had something. I had a little gift there to motivate and to land on people with my words. And so then between that and the legal stuff and whatever, I put together this brand, the Laptop Lifestyle Lawyer, trademarked myself, and I created a course. And now I actually have more than one course. And it's to give this blueprint to lawyers from soup to nuts, from how to incorporate, how to figure out what entity you want to have your law firm under, to getting your tax ID, getting your brand going, getting how to rainmake, where the heck your clients are.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, Cara, because this is something that I think all of us get caught up in, no matter what it is that you're doing, is how to have the courage to start your next. And one of the things that we talked about was what it was like to create your destiny when you became a single parent, and how you had the courage to keep trying. And then you tell us that your dad was murdered when you were 14 years old. So there's a lot of courage that either could come up or not come up during that time. So when you talk about, just for a second, when you talk about what is the business of a laptop lifestyle lawyer, what is that law firm that you are showing other people to create?
It's the same law firm that is the same business model that you live. It's the fact that you can create a business where you don't have to show up somewhere, at 9 o'clock, clocking in, being there till 8 o'clock at night, where you don't have to have your toothbrush in your drawer, because a lot of lawyers, that's their reality. You don't have to miss your kids' games. You don't have to miss your life in order to make money. Being an attorney is an aspect of my life. It's not my whole life. Most attorneys are drowning in being attorneys, and then they miss out on everything. And then next thing you know, they bat their eyes and little Johnny is getting married. And they missed all of it. And I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to compromise lifestyle or career or family. I didn't want to have to put anything on a scale of what was more important. I was going to get more of my time. So when I started my firm, I take cases And I work them when I work them. And I work them by the pool. Most of my stuff is automated. I have a lot of workflows. I have a lot of systems. Remember systems? I learned systems, and systems work because you can automate a lot of tasks. I'm a personal injury attorney. Most people get into a car accident or they slip and fall. It's pretty much the same thing that they got to go through. They got to go treat. We have the same paperwork to send out. We got pretty much very linear, the life cycle of a case. So I'm a rainmaker, and I use my brand partly to put so much value out in the market that people, when they do have a situation, they're going to come out and obviously hire my firm. And then I also help other lawyers who look like me, okay, who may have my trajectory, because when I was thinking who my avatar is, it was me 12 years ago, because me 12 years ago could have totally used this, because I made a lot of mistakes along the way trying to figure this thing out, and borrowed from obviously my different spaces that I've been in so that I can create this platform for myself. But ultimately, the idea is that you can have it all. You can have the business, you can have the career, but you can also have the life, and you can have the lifestyle, and you can fine dine as much as you want, and you can travel as much as you want. And you don't have to trade one for the other because your rent is $20K a month, or because you have all of this in-house help when they can be outsourced. And so I am in the business of helping people find their financial freedom and their time and money freedom through this law degree that they paid so much money for, and that they've been done the major disservice of not having been given one course in business law. Now, one course is offered in law school as to how to actually convert your own law degree into cash. No, there's no such thing. You're not getting courses on law firm management. No one does that. So tomorrow at noon, I'm at St. Thomas University in Miami teaching this to third-year law students. I'm doing a tour because I want them to because to whom much is given, much is required. I've done well. I've done well, and I've had to reinvent myself. I've had to divorce. Because you go through a divorce, you don't just divorce the man, you divorce yourself. You divorce who you thought you were going to be. You divorce who you thought you were. I mean, it's an identity crisis, right? And so
let me ask you this. When you're talking to women, because we talked about this earlier, when you're talking to women, and I want to invite people to call in because they know women who are in this situation, or they want to support someone who's through that situation. One of the things you said earlier to me was that women sometimes get tied up in what they cannot do because they never did it before. And they were always waiting for their support person to show up. When we're around so many women that we have men that we could lean on, but we don't lean on them because we can create our own. So what are you finding out there when you're talking to women to let them know what is the hurdle that they have to get over so they stop looking for someone else to bring to them what they're capable of bringing for themselves?
They have to get over themselves. They have to get over their program. They have to get over their beliefs, because you do as you believe. And if you believe that you need someone to come and rescue you, then you wait for someone to come and rescue you, if that's what you truly believe is going to happen. But if you have a come into Jesus moment with yourself and you're like, oh, no one's coming, right? So then you become very resourceful. I became resourceful because I didn't have a lifeline coming. And when I had that moment of like, wait a minute, if it is to be, it is up to me. This stuff is not stuff that is just fluff. It's true. It really is up to you. And there's for me, there is a fulfillment and satisfaction that I think you only get when you have created from what is your capacity and what is capable, what is possible in you. And so that's what I am waking up in the various women that I speak to every day. And then the people who are my audience is, you are here on borrowed time. We're all going to check out of here at one point. If there's one thing we all know is we're going to die. Okay. So 28,000 days, 28,000 days on average is what you get to do this dance here. Right. So what is it going to look like? What is it going to look
28,000 days. I heard you say that before. 28,000 days before your what age?
Well, On average, a human being lives about 75 years, which translates to 28,000 days. I wrote a book called 28,000 Days, Make Yours Count, because your days are counted. Okay? Because my father at 42 years old, that morning when he got murdered, he thought he was going to have a lot more days ahead of him. But evidently, it did not. It was not in the cards. He did not know. Right? So one thing we all have is we have a death certificate in our back pocket. We just don't know what date's on it. But there's a date on it, and your days are counted. So whether you want to face that and take full responsibility of your life, or let that depression and go back to bed, that's your choice. But me, I looked at it as, you know what? I get one dance. This is not a dress rehearsal. We're live. This is my life. I'm going to show up and I'm going to show out, because I came here and there were many sperms that didn't make it that night when my parents did whatever they did. So I made it. So I'm going to make it count. And I want my children to be able to look up to me and say, you know what, if she did it, I can do it, because who else can I want to guarantee their role model. I want to guarantee their role model. And so,
hey, Kara, I have a quick question. This is so good. Oh my goodness. This is so good. Thank you so much for being on our show on today. And you said something that I think so many women are thinking about, and it is reinventing themselves. And, you know, whether it is they've gone through a divorce, or maybe they're widowed, or maybe they left the brick and mortar job and now they're like, I'm not going back into the office. So there's so many reasons why women and people, and as well, choose not to do what they've been doing. But what would be your top three things that you would say is important when you decide, I have to reinvent myself, I have to do something different if I am going to use my 28,000 days to the best you can? What are your top three things?
Okay, so the first thing that, as you were saying, is you got to practice detachment, right? You got to be detached from who you think you are, because we are so married to the illusion of who we think we are and who society thinks we should be and who our parents told us we were supposed to be. You know, the patriarchy has you thinking of yourself a certain way, and then there's really you. And the reality is, that's number one, to practice detachment. Another thing that you've got to really sit in is the fact that you are a multifaceted being. And one thing that you have, listen, I heard Bob Proctor say something and it hit me. He said, God has given us more talent and ability than we'll ever get to use in this lifetime. And our gift back to God is to use as many of that talent and ability as we possibly can while we're here. So you overflow with talents and abilities. So don't get so caught up in either one of them, in exercising either one of them. And the third thing is, we're moving. The world moves. We move. We're energy. We're not stagnant. We're constantly evolving. And so you got to be open to graduating from one place to another place, from one season to another, and understanding that's life. Nothing lasts forever. Divorce that idea that things have to stay the same. It's a fake security blanket that we have, where it's like, you know, we're trying to hold on to this situation. I mean, I try to hold on to my marriage long after it was freaking obvious it was over. It was over. Right? And I mean, over.
Was it over?
Right? Jesus. But I was so married, not necessarily to him, but the idea of being a married woman, being in my family and keeping this family unit, because I never saw anybody in my family go through that. So here I am going to rock a big boat, you know, it's a big boat. And so meanwhile, everyone in my family is kind of looking up to me because I'm the one who's doing all this movement. Oh my God, all this light. And then, you know, how am I going to explain this last Facebook profile picture that we look so damn happy, but we really weren't, you know? You know, right.
That's real, Kara. That's so real. I mean, we are so busy trying to live a life for the world that we cannot live our own lives succinctly. We can't fulfill our own dreams, our own heart's desires. And I've always said, I say this a lot, that if you don't like a situation, you are not a tree. Move. But it takes courage. It takes
so much easier said than done.
I mean,
for sure.
Obviously, you're passionate. Obviously, you're confident. Obviously, something resides within you to go on and do what you need to do. But so many of our listeners, so many of the world, so many in society stay stuck because they don't have the courage. Talk about how you have found the courage to move when you needed to move.
There's something called God. Okay. There's a higher power that I'm very that I spend a lot of time with, and that I do believe we each have a calling on this planet, and we're not here by mistake. And I do a lot of internal work, a lot of soul searching.
That's it, Kara. Talk about the internal work, because there are so many faith-filled Christians who love the Lord, but they don't believe in God's word. You know what I'm saying? So talk about that internal work, because that work is so important.
That work is everything. That work is everything. We're out here looking for answers on the outside when all of the answers are on the inside. They are all in there. Really. There's no answer you're going to find outside. Really. Because even if you find an answer outside, you got to go check back inside to see if it's even good for you. Right? And no one will know what's good for you other than you. You don't even know what you're capable of. Right? It's as we've grown that we've figured out what we're capable of. I didn't know what I was capable of. I didn't know I could do all this, and I'm sure neither one of you guys, you believe, right? But I also really urge people to not exercise blind faith. I'm not a blind faith person. My faith is based on knowledge. I understand the word. I understand the laws of this universe that I'm in. I'm not, just pie in the sky waiting for manna. I understand the laws that, yes, if I ask for it, believing that I've received it, and that I intentionally pull it towards me energetically by virtue of the being that I am and the energy that I am, I must attract it onto me. So there is no doubt that when I visualize something and that I see that desire is brewing in me, why is this desire in me? It's not in you, right? You didn't want to go and become the laptop lifestyle lawyer. You know why? Because it ain't for you. Okay, it's for me. So I believe that since it's for me and I can feel this desire, it's meant for me. Desire is possibility seeking expression. So if you truly know that you want something and that desire in you is possibility seeking expression, and you're believing that not blindly, but because it's sensibly, it's science. It's science.
It's science. It's science. Okay, wait, now we got to stop. I got to tell you this. You're going to take that same passion. And when we were talking earlier, we were talking about how women are underpaid. They're underpaid. And you talked about how you were a lawyer and then you got paid more as an executive assistant. And you became a lawyer. I mean, just talk a little bit about that because you turned the trajectory of your situation.
Right. And I have to, and I'm going to underline something else, is that I changed it straight ignorance on fire and really wanting to change my life in a positive direction. Let me tell you, I graduated college. I was working in Manhattan as an executive assistant for a French investment bank. I was making $50,000. I spent 3 years in law school, and my boss did not want to budge off 45. I was like, bruh, I'm going to need you to meet me at least at 50. Because for me to take a pay cut after law school, and I was $150,000 now in more debt. Come on now. Like somebody's going to have to do something about this. And he wouldn't. Right. He gave me 47. So I was making $3,000 less. So I went ahead and started this Mary Kay business as a licensed attorney. I started my lipstick business. Yes. And everybody was like, oh, what are you doing? And this, and I'm like, if y'all are cutting the checks for these bills, go ahead and tell me what you think. Unless you're doing that, I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
and
right.
So I started my direct sales business, and within a year, I had doubled my income. And this is with me not knowing what I was doing. And that's why I want to underline the whole ignorance on fire. I just got excited. I started seeing women's paychecks, and I was like, oh, what? I started seeing cars. I started seeing people with diamonds and pumps, and these women were looking fabulous. I was like, I started chopping some heads off and putting mine there. Like, I can do this. And so that's why when I decided to do the work that I do, I wanted other attorneys to get that. Listen, I ain't special. I'm you. You're me. I'm just a different form of the same energy that brews within you. So instead of reinventing a wheel, copy the right cat. I figured it out. And so I'm going to give you the same blueprint so you can now go create the same financial independence that I have, because I am going to tell you, and that's the conversation we were having earlier, Gloria.
Yes,
I had a mediation with a woman, and I was doing a dissolution of marriage for her, and she could not get out of this situation because she's, the money and what he's going to give in alimony, she won't be able to pay her rent. Listen, when it came down for me to walk out, I was like, look, it's been real, it's been great. Thank you for the services. I don't need alimony, I don't need child support, I don't need anything. I'm good. Wish you well. Let's split these kids. Let's take care of them well. That's it. And I feel like a woman should always have that choice, because women are staying in undesirable situations, whether it be in their relationship, in their work environment, in even caring
and domestic violence.
Children,
This is domestic violence awareness month.
But even
and so we talked about
for, situation, like for example, I've seen people get really drained financially because they have to take care of an elderly parent. How amazing is that if you can just put a nurse on retainer? Like, I mean, come on, if you, I love taking care of my kids in my house, but the cleaning lady, I'm billing at $4.50 an hour. I can't clean a toilet anymore. Like, there's stuff that you got to be able to outsource so that you can live the best version of yourself, and that all takes money. And it's not about money being the money doesn't buy happiness. Yes, it does. It does, because with it, you can do a lot of things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. You can go places that you wouldn't otherwise be able to go. You can avail yourself of trainings. I've traveled and done different workshops that have developed me as a person, because I'm my greatest asset. I understand that. So I've invested a lot in myself. But the reason why I can do that is because I have the disposable extra to do that. But once upon a time, don't be disillusioned. Once upon a time, I was waking up in the middle of the night, refreshing that Bank of America to make sure that everything got covered. Once upon a time, I was at Ross trying to check out a couple power dresses, and I'm seeing the total, and I'm thinking, oh shit, is my car going to go through? Do I need to make a transfer? It's not like I hadn't been there, but I took it upon myself to do a paradigm shift around money. And that's why in the beginning you said, what is it that these women need to do? They need to rewrite the story that they're living out of, because your paradigm, the money blueprint that you have, that you inherited from your environment. Listen, I grew up in the most impoverished country in the Western Hemisphere. If I did not switch, I can't create abundance without switching the mindset, right? Because all I've seen is poverty. All I've seen is scarcity. All I've seen is lack. You can't get a Word document out of an Excel program. So if you want to have abundance, you got to have an abundance program. And in order to have an abundance program, you got to go put it in there. And you got to program it with books, with podcasts, with motivators, with coaches, with whatever. Jesus himself, the Bible. Get your devotional, spend some time getting truth put into you versus the BS that society has fed you, that has gone generation and generation without being questioned. And that's where, and I hope I answered your question, because I kind of got excited. Yes. So, yeah, that's
Cara, I just want to jump in. I mean, my mouth. I'm over here taking notes, writing down. You are preaching, and so many women. There's so many women, so many people that are listening. You have inspired so many. You've inspired so many. Can you tell us a couple of success stories about other attorneys that you have inspired to make this paradigm shift and how they are the laptop
lifestyle lawyer? Absolutely. I actually, if you go on my page, you'll see them. I post them all the time. I have this amazing client of mine, Jennifer, who 2 years ago walked away from a big box law firm, was making six figures. She was already making six figures, but she wasn't happy. She wasn't fulfilled.
Right.
She didn't have time. She wanted to start a family. She wanted something different. Last month, Jennifer settled a case on just one case, $220,000. Okay, that's big. And she's pregnant. She's gonna go on maternity leave. In the same month, she settled another case for $180,000. So can you do the math? The woman is killing it. I actually had one gal who worked with me from when she was a third-year law student. I kept on trying to push her out the nest. She finally started her law firm in February, Francesca. And, I asked her to tally up her numbers up until now, from February to now, settled over $270,000 for her clients. Mind you, we're making 33% of that. So it's not a bad payday. Okay. So listen, there's bread out there for women lawyers. And I'm talking about women lawyers because this is who I'm talking about right now. Right. But women in general, okay, you have to go create your income. You can't wait for somebody to give it to you. You got to go create it. You have value. Listen, okay, Emerson said it. The law of compensation, the marketplace will reward you in direct proportion to the value you bring to it. It is your responsibility to bring value. What is that going to look like for you? That's the inward work that I'm talking about. It's figuring out what you're made of. We all have gifts and talents that God said that we will never be able to use all of them while we're here. Go figure out which ones you got. Package that, put that in the market. However, okay, whether it's you start through, look, direct sales business is a thing. You can do some investment in the market, whatever. You can churn whatever you have, sell some stuff that you have that you're not doing anything with in your garage and start something. Paint, sell it, do whatever you got to do so that you can start having some wins. And then the more wins you have, the more belief you start having, the more confidence you start having. And then you start looking better, you start smelling better, you start walking better. All that stuff happens, as you're starting to win. And then you want to do bigger things. And then you reinvent yourself. I didn't know I was going to be a laptop lifestyle lawyer 3 years ago. I didn't even know that name. But when I graduated from the space that I was in and I became more, that idea came up. I became more so that I had to do more in the market. And so that's where it's at. If you want to create your space in the market and you want to make that bank because you know you deserve it and you should, by virtue of the fact that you woke up today, you should be financially in a good place, then you go ahead and do that.
Kara, can you repeat what you said? You said the marketplace will reward you
in direct proportion to the value that you bring to it. I mean, look at Apple. Apple's got a cell phone in everybody's pocket. You see the kind of money Apple is generating?
Right. Talk about it. $1,500 for a phone.
Okay. So that's what you got to look at. Who is making big? Bezos. Look at the value. Do you drive one time outside and not see an Amazon truck? Do you even go a day without thinking about Amazon?
Right.
Okay. I think about it every day. Somebody get my phone and the app, right? And so that's what it is. And if we just stop and think, the problem is we're not thinking. We're just kind of waiting for the world to tell us what to do. We're waiting for the news.
We're going to give everybody, we want to give everybody a minute to call in. If you want to call in and jump into this conversation, because you got to come in with your fist filled with energy to jump into this conversation. But if you want to jump in this conversation, we want you to call into 910 a.m. the Super Station. You'll be calling in to We Got Issues in the last part of the show. We're at 313-778-7600. We definitely want to hear from you as she's bringing the energy and the passion for you guys to take it to a higher level. I think all of us, we talked about this earlier, Kara, about the mindset. And I'm going to ask my girlfriends to come in with their thoughts about the mindset, because we've all seen us improve our own mindset. We've done the work to improve our mindset. And so that's where we get up and we start coaching other people so that they can fix their mindset. And we see it in so many different levels. So anybody want to take it from there, but the mindset that it takes to shift your reality, because what you see today is not what you have to see forever.
You know what, Gloria, this is such a great conversation. Thank you, Kara, for bringing the energy. When I tell you, I mean, it's just like you don't know what to do. I want to jump up and run around the table 10 times. It's just so good. It's just so juicy. But I was just thinking about something that we say all the time. What you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. And what you give your attention to, it grows. And so many times we spend a large amount of time focusing on what we don't want, thinking that if we focus on what we don't want, we're not going to get what we don't want. But the truth of the matter is, when you focus on what you don't want, you get more of what you don't want. So it really is a mind shift to say, let me stop focusing on what I don't want and start retraining my mind to think about what I want. And I mean, God has given us, and I love what you said at the top of the show, that he's given us so many talents that even if we live over 28,000 days, that we will never even tap into all of the gifts and the talents that he has given to us. And so, I mean, that is just a mind shift, a paradigm shift. And I'm just so excited. And I know that so many of our listeners and those that are watching, they are being inspired right now. So thank you so much for bringing the juice, the passion, and the excitement.
Oh yeah, no, this is listen, I live for this. Listen, I live for this.
But okay, so before we go, I want to hear about your children. Before you go, tell us a little bit about your kids.
Oh, I got amazing kids. I'm sure every parent says that, but I really do have the best. Like, my kids are amazing. I have my son Luke is 12, my daughter Leah is 7. They are my greatest teachers, and I have had to woman up to parent these children, and I've had to heal my own child, my own little girl in me, so that I can show up for them. And if we allow our children to do what they came to do in our lives, we will be greater than we can ever be without their presence. My children have triggered things in me that I had to go look at. And
I'm excited about that, because she is an example of a woman, single parent, designed her own car. We are so excited that you joined us today on We Got Issues. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. Our guest today, Kara, you did that, and we're loving it. And we love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and We Got Issues. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Oh, so good.